Welcome back to GAA Fan TV. My name is Aaron. Delighted to be joined here by John McMahon from the JMac podcast. It's the fourth of our season previews, and this time around we're going to be looking at the Cavan footballers, the mighty Cavan footballers, the fall from grace, obviously down to Division 4, back up now to Division 3. Dark horses maybe for an Ulster title. I'm not so sure, but John, how's things?
Jeez, the nights are out tonight, my man, and it's only 6:30. All good, sir. An absolute pleasure to be back on your show. I think connection problems are all good again. We sorted it out. We got in contact with our. I got in contact with my my internet provider. I know, only joking. All's good again. But pleasure to be on again, my man. There's going to be a few bits and pieces to talk about tonight. The 2023 season. Lots of Cavan related news in the last couple of weeks. Some good, some bad. Probably more bad than good. But look, we'll crack into it.
Yeah, you excited for another inter-county season coming around? I mean, I know like we've been discussing the club action and everything else, and obviously sort of we're down to our 4 teams in the All-Ireland Club Senior Football Championship. So like the inter-county season, it's mad they're even looking at it. Like I think it's about a month away. Like end of January is obviously when the league starts, but even the draw for a pre-season tournaments and everything. So how are you feeling going into the inter-county season?
Yeah, like I'm really looking forward to it now at this stage, to be honest with you. Like, you really kind of have to put this in perspective, and we haven't had any intercounty games since July, and I suppose that's probably been unforeseen in the last couple of years, and it's all new, I suppose, and it has been a huge miss. It's been an absolutely huge miss, I suppose. Even like I obviously would have recorded, and obviously you're in my podcast lots of times this year talking about the intercounty games, and it definitely leaves that bit of a hole. When you're doing your reviews and previews, maybe like on a Monday night, and then there's nothing there on your Monday night. Your Monday nights are freed up. You have to I don't know, do something else on a Monday night, and it's been an absolutely huge miss. So I'm really looking forward to it. Probably be vocal enough in my views about maybe like I suppose the lack of quality in the club games in the last couple of weeks, and it just probably hasn't got the juices flowing, maybe for want of a better phrase. The Ulster game, the Glen and Kilcoo game was absolutely brilliant on Sunday. I think it was one of the best first halves of football I've ever seen in recent years. But I think in Leinster, Kilmacudder they did walk their way through to it. The Leinster final was poor. The Munster final wasn't even great either, and even the Connacht final. So you're just kind of clutching at straws, I think, throughout the kind of club championship. So I think even from that point alone, you're really looking forward to the county getting going now in a few weeks' time. Get over Christmas, and then McKenna Cup. I think McKenna Cup draws now in an hour's time, so that'll be interesting to see who we get. Keeping a good eye on it. So really looking forward to, because look, Aaron, I'll be brutally honest with you. I've been doing reviews and previews of the club games the last couple of weeks, and you're doing them, but I just haven't been enjoying it really.
Yeah, Brian's asking you to stay positive anyway, only positivity. They're coming for you already. Jeez, they didn't take
already, Brian. If that's the Brian I know, how's it all, my man? I hope you're keeping well.
Yeah, but as a Cavan fan, you excited for the new year, the new season, or is maybe the juice is not flowing for that either?
Yeah, look, 2023 is going to be an interesting year from the Cavan point of view, because there's been lots probably happening in the recent weeks, and it's nearly hard to keep up with the chopping and changing that is going on in there at the minute. And in recent weeks, we've seen Shawnee Johnson step away from his coaching role, and I was quite surprised, because I thought that was like a start of a new journey for him with the Cavan kind of setup. He only done the year, and he's gone. We've seen Tomas Galligan, as you've kind of alluded in this this video, that Tomas is going travelling next year. Chris Conroy's retired. Niall Murray's retired. Like, they were around the county setup for years and years. Maybe didn't get the game time that they wanted over the years, but they're gone now. The likes of Cormac O'Reilly, Cavan O'Reilly have gone, so probably just didn't get their opportunities last year or the year before. So I suppose there's been lots of lads kind of leaving, and you're just kind of wondering, do we have the quality coming in to replace these lads? And you'd be quite concerned going into next year, and you're just kind of hoping that Mickey Graham is getting blooding a couple of the Gowna lads, the Crusher Law lads, the Rammer lads, and even the Cavan Gaels lads, getting them in, because we really have lost some good players there, good reliable players at that. So you'd be kind of tentative going into next year. I know we've James Work for Mayo, the former Mayo coach, coming in to coach us next year as well. It's great to see, but you'd be going in next year with a bit of nervousness, I'd say, even because I think Division 3 will be harder than a lot of people think. There'll be a lot of sticky teams in it as well. So look, you will be looking forward to getting the county back, but I think from a Cavan perspective, there has to be that bit of concern with, I suppose, who we bring it in to replace these lads,
Yeah, because I was going to say that to you. Like, does seem to be a good amount of sort of exiles from the side last year. Obviously, now Thomas Galligan, maybe a few other lads maybe stepping away as well. So, does it feel like maybe like that sort of bulk of Cavan lads that were there when he won the Ulster title, got to the final the year before, like that kind of bunch maybe are kind of slowly, like obviously Gerard McKernan's still in there, but he's probably getting on a bit as well. So it does feel like a big bulk of those lads are maybe sort of slowly coming to the end of their time, maybe.
Yeah, it does seem like that. And I suppose the way county game is gone at the minute, Aaron, like a lot of lads are kind of weighing stuff up in their head. And, do I need this kind of commitment in my life? Maybe if I'm not getting the game time I want and need, like the likes of Niall Murray and Chris Conroy. Niall Murray was on the Cavan team since, 2011. Chris Conroy, I think, was there since about maybe 2012. And I suppose the pair of boys, like unbelievable ambassadors for Cavan GAA, great servants, but probably just weren't getting the game time they probably needed over the years. And you'd bring them lads bring them lads into war any time, but probably just weren't getting the game time or the efforts that they're putting in. So just kind of step away. I know obviously Chris Conroy got married there recently, so I know obviously your time will probably be off the essence for him a lot of the time now. And Niall Murray, again, he owes nothing to Cavan football. And I suppose the likes of even Thomas Galligan, obviously new, like I think it was back in September that news was raised about Thomas going traveling, and it's I suppose if he's still young, he's probably one age as me and you, so he wants to explore the world and see different parts, and it's hard to blame a man. And GA, it doesn't pay the bills, it not pay your mortgage, so off he goes. And the likes of even Shawnee kind of stepping away, so you would maybe wonder what's kind of going on in there. Is there a bit of upheaval after the Tailteann Cup final? I was vocal to you about this. Maybe it was a missed opportunity in Croke Park back in July. There, I know Westmeath were on the crest of a wave, but you need to be winning them titles, them games. But you just kind of wonder, is there a bit of upheaval in the camp, or what's going on to a degree, Aaron?
Yeah. Like you mentioned that Tailteann Cup final defeat to Westmeath, and obviously that was a crushing blow, I'd imagine, for most Cavan supporters. Like after, I suppose, a fairly positive year in many ways. Like obviously you came up from Division 4, came up as champions, obviously, completely breezed away Antrim. You obviously against Donegal, like very, very competitive as well, like nearly could have won that. So I suppose it was a very positive year just up until that defeat, I suppose.
Yeah, no, it definitely was a good year. And I suppose, that Ulster game against Donegal, we were really close, and we did, like, obviously nearly did get over the line against them. There no getting away from it. No better team than Cavan maybe to cause an upset. But I think Tailteann Cup, it came, it went. We got to the final of it. Obviously, Betts like won the semi-final. But I just think in the final, against Westmeath, and obviously Westmeath played some unbelievable football that day. But I think the general opinion around the county is, like, and still lads talking about it, that it did feel like a bit of a missed opportunity. Maybe we got matchups wrong, probably too late to the party, getting the match, some of the matchups sorted, some of the tactics that day. So you just kind of have to question, why are lads not going back in next year? Like, as I said a couple of seconds ago, is there something wrong within the setup? I know after, the Tailteann Cup final, Mickey Graham was kind of questioning his future. He was going to come back and decide. And obviously a couple of months later, he came back and came a decision that he's going to stay on for another 2 years. And let's not forget as well, Marty Curry's gone as well, and he's gone to the Monaghan setup. So there's been a lot of lads leaving. So I really, I know there's been talk of a couple of Crush Law boys going in and a few Gowna boys going in. So you're really hoping there's a bit of fresh blood, and a lot of people can be saying it's probably was time for a bit of a shake up. But look, at the end of the day, we will need to get out of Division 3 as well. At the end of the day, we are a Division 2 team. We will need to get promotion next year. There will be a lot of pressure on next year as well. But I just think with all this kind of stuff going on in recent weeks, with lads not coming back, and maybe lads not committing, and lads not coming, getting their fair crack at the whip, I just think it causes a bit of unrest. But we'll wait and see.
Yeah, and there's a case as well, even of obviously he's won that Ulster title in 2020, like such a significant achievement for a county like Cavan. I think it was your first Ulster title in, what was it, 22, 23 years or something of that nature. And obviously, like, for a county like Cavan, like and when you look at the Ulster Championship, it's going to be so tough to achieve something like that again. So do you think maybe for a lot of those players and coaches or whatever, and even Mickey Graham, like, they've kind of gone and looked at it and thought, do you know what? We won an Ulster title. Maybe I've
Yeah.
taken this team as far as I've come. Like, and it's one of them things where, like, I think Dublin have even suffered with this a little bit as well in the last couple of years in terms of they won so many All-Irelands, they achieved so much. It was almost like there was nothing else there left to achieve. So lads started opting out, coaches were going, and everything else. And although it's, you know, it's on a different scale with Cavan, but winning that Ulster title was nearly like winning an All-Ireland for you in many ways, you know?
Yeah, no, it absolutely was, and like you know, it's 2 years on from that, and I suppose it'd be good if we can kind of, I suppose, a lot of people have, and you know, we like kind of dwelling on the past and looking at the past, but I think you know, you can look at 97, you can look at 2020, but I really think it's time to start pushing on and, you know, believing in teams we have a present and kind of looking forward to the future and looking to the future, try to win future titles. So, you know, as a county, we really need to start buying into the future instead of kind of looking back to the past and the great teams of this, that, and the other. We need to, you know, keep developing ourselves. And I know you're kind of saying there about, oh yeah, sure, like, you know, we've that's all we've achieved, like North title. But like I've said this to you 1,001 times, you know, the scenes we had in 2020, like Cavan football, the cars, the noise, absolutely everything. The night of the Ulster final, everyone meeting up. I know it was COVID and stuff, but you know, we have been starved of success. So it's just a case of, you know, believing, as I said, believing in the panel of players we have now, you know, play with the cards we dealt with. Obviously, Mickey Graham, he's a smart man, you know, 2 more years he signed up for. So he obviously sees there's a project there. He must see there's maybe potentially he has to be looking at promotion next year, and definitely getting his hands on that Tottenham Cup. But you know, he must see there's something else there. But I just think with all the kind of chopping and changing in the recent weeks, it definitely doesn't help. But it won. I think obviously me and Matthew Hurley were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. Darren McVitie's back in the Cavan team. Obviously, he's, I suppose the name speaks for itself. Darren's been an unbelievable footballer for Cavan in recent years. Probably has missed a few bits and pieces. I think a league title and, you know, the Ulster Championship and even a county title with his club, but I suppose that's the chance you take. But he'll be a huge addition to that dressing room with the team as well, so he'll be a great addition. But yeah, it'll be definitely an interesting year. But yeah, you're just kind of hoping there's a few fresh faces in there, and suppose we can get on the hype train for next year.
Yeah, because I suppose last year in the under-20 championship as well, like you did reach the under-20 Ulster final, obviously beating the likes of, I think it was Monaghan and Derry is beaten, obviously falling to Tyrone narrowly in the final. So, and Tyrone went on to win the All-Ireland. So, like, do you think there'll be many players maybe from that side who might come in? Like, at least there does seem to be, I don't know if it was a once-off or what do you think or whatever. Was it just one of them things they went on a run and got to an Ulster final? Or do you think maybe there's a group of players there who maybe might be ready to come into the team?
Yeah, like there's a couple of good bright shoots in that. Like even that Ulster final last year, we probably should have won it. Really, like it was at it, and we were inches probably away from even getting a draw out of the game. So probably maybe another bit of a missed opportunity. But there's plenty of talent there. The likes of Fintan O'Reilly and Brian O'Rourke. There's so many talent, a lot of lads you could bring in there. But I suppose, like it's like anything else, like there is a lot of talent there, and like I think Conor Casey from Gowna, he'd be a great lad even for Mickey Graham next year. Me and you were talking about that a few weeks ago, but a lot of people have been saying that, no, maybe it's a bit too early. Let him develop. Let him play his under-20 football. You know, let him get a bit bulkier and build himself up until he makes that step on the senior team. But I just think it kind of reverts back to the point of, like, a lot of lads in county folds at the minute, it really is a full-time job. And I've said this a million times before to you. Like, you're back maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. You probably have a decent enough Christmas, and then you're kind of full throttle for the McKenna Cup and league. So maybe a lot of lads your age, my age, and everything that was with that are probably just weighing stuff up at the minute. And that's maybe why we've had lads step away, because like it's getting to the point where, you know, maybe if you're not getting to ladder ends of competitions or not being successful or not getting started, you know, you're weighing it up in your head, like, do I need this commitment in my life? And it really is a full-time job if you're managing the team, if you're playing, and especially, look, Aaron, if you're not making a 26 when you probably deserve it to be near even in the 30, and you're not getting even into the match day squads, it can be very disheartening. And you know, we probably had a few examples of lads maybe not getting into the 26 this year that should have been there. So it can be very disheartening on lads. But yeah, I think Mickey Graham has a job in his hands next year.
Were you surprised even he did stay on? Like, it kind of nearly looked perfect for him maybe to step away last year, like after that Tailteann Cup final defeat. You're kind of looking at it and thinking, going into Division 3, which is tough, you know, it is going to be tough in there. Like, I would probably have Cavan as one of the favourites to get out there, but it certainly is going to be difficult. So, were you surprised he did stay on and maybe there wasn't anyone else, or was it a case maybe there was no one else maybe to put their hands up even to come in?
Hard to know. Like, I suppose when the news was released that Mickey was staying on, I wasn't overly surprised. And I suppose obviously 2 more years at it, I thought it might have been 1 more year, but he's signed himself up for another 2. And I suppose obviously winning the Ulster title is probably guaranteed his place as manager of the Cavan team. But that's it. Like, we have seen in recent months, Aaron, like the county jobs seem to be very, very hard to be taken up. Like, you know, the fact Donegal only got sorted, about a month ago, and Monaghan probably only got sorted about 2 months ago, and obviously Finney and Marty Curry's gone in there, so Paddy Carr with Donegal. But it just, like, it keeps referring back to my point, Aaron, like, fair play. Obviously, it suits Mickey because he obviously lives in Cavan town. It's probably a 5-10 minute drive for him to get the train, and maybe other county managers might not have the same quality as that. So it probably suited him to do the next 2 years. I'm not really sure. He hasn't been overly vocal about it. I know he was on RTE and the night of the Gown and Crushlaw game, and he was weighing stuff up in the last couple of weeks and said it was a good call to keep going and progress Cavan football. So I suppose it just probably suits him, Aaron. But I know if Mickey was to go, and the struggles Donegal and Monaghan and the likes had in recent months about getting a new manager, it could have been a bit of a job getting a new man in if Mickey was to go. So look, glad from that point of view. But what I'm kind of probably saying is I think he might have a bit of an uphill task next year, because I'm not sure if there's the same quality coming in to replace a lot of these lads that's going away.
Yeah, like, and I suppose maybe it does speak a bit of kind of volume at the same time that he is staying on. Like, maybe he does see a good crop of players coming through there, and he does see, you know, a few younger players or a few good club players, because I don't think he would have stayed on, in my opinion, if he didn't see that talent there. Like, I think he'd, like, as we were saying, it was almost a perfect time to step away, because, you know, like, it's hard to nearly see how things can get better for Cavan over the next few years, but
yeah,
maybe he sees like a good crop of lads coming through, you know.
Yeah, no, that probably would have been the perfect chance, you know, after the Tall Cup final. But I think management has to be one of the most difficult jobs. And it's funny, like, I met, was it Roddy Collins, probably on a side note, and I was watching an interview with him today, and he was just kind of saying management's very thankless. I think that goes for soccer, any walk of life. Management is very, very tough in any walk of life. And I just think Mickey, when he did sign on for the 2 years, I don't think he probably has realised what kind of came down the tracks now in recent months and weeks, with all the lads kind of stepping away. And I know the likes of Darren McVeety coming back in, and a few, maybe 1 or 2 others, but I think he obviously took the 2 more years. And I know Shawnee would have stepped aside maybe a couple of weeks after that. You see, you can't really plan and you can't really organise these things. So I think if he knew maybe if some of the lads were stepping away, or if he was going to get all this kind of upheaval in the last couple of weeks, it's hard to know if any man would have stayed put with everything that's been going on. But look, fair play to him, 2 more years. As you said, he probably sees something that maybe the rest of us potentially can't. But I just think Division 3 will be tougher than a lot of people think next year, because you have a lot of good quality teams there, you know.
Yeah, and obviously Derek McVeety coming back in, as you mentioned. I mean, that's a big addition. Like, I think I remember in 2019 when he was really lighting it up that year and had a brilliant year, and obviously I think went away traveling then for the next couple of years. So getting him back in the side is going to be a huge addition for Cavan.
Return of the Mac, my man. Return of the Mac. Yeah, no, it's great to see Dara back. He's in terrific shape at the minute. He was over in Australia. I think he was playing in Australia. He was doing a bit of AFL, so he's been keeping himself in great nick. He came back and played the club championship for his club, Crushlaw. Done quite well in the championship. Got obviously to the semi-final against Gauna. He had a pretty good championship for the amount of football he's played maybe in recent years. So obviously, look, Dara's probably one of the better players in Ulster now. When he's on form, he's a top class player. He could play anywhere. You could probably play him wing back. You could play him a support midfielder. You could probably play him wing forward, even in the full forward line. So even as an attacking outlet, I think Dara will be excellent. I think we are going towards Garo McKernan being on the edge of the square next year. I think that's the talk in the street about, moving Garo, because he obviously played for Cavan Gaels. They're all championship this year. So I think Garo will be moved inside. So look, even if Garo and the likes of Darren McVeety and Paddy Lynch were inside for Cavan, that could be a tasty full forward line. We could try experiment there. But look, Dara, it's great to see him back. He's a great fella. He's given a lot to Cavan football so far. It's a pity, obviously, he missed out on the 2020 Ulster success. the league title obviously this year. But look, Darrell will be mad to make amends for the last couple of years. And yeah, he's a quality player. He's so exciting, and he's the type of player you pay money to go watch.
Yeah, and looking at Division 3 then of the National Football League, like just looking at the division here and some of the teams in there, like it's gonna be tough for yourselves, you know. You've got the likes of Westmeath.
I don't tell lies, Aaron. I don't tell lies. I don't tell lies.
Yeah, like you've got the likes of Westmeath, Offaly, obviously Down are probably going to be a bit reinvigorated this year as well. Tipperary are a fairly good side who can take a scalp or two. And Gavin had a comment here. He was saying, would Cavan be favourites to get out of Division 3? If not, would it be possible for Cavan to beat Armagh, probably Donegal, to get to the Ulster final? We'll get to that maybe a little bit later.
There's about 4 questions in the one there.
Yeah. But in terms of Division 3, what do you think? Are you favourites or what do you think there?
Well, you're after naming a lot of good teams there. Like, and I think Division 3, fair enough. Division 4, I think have maybe like if it's like to get motivated for a lot of games, and maybe they're struggling a couple of games this year. But I think next year you will really need to go in with a proper mindset of getting over the line in every single game, and putting in good performances as well and getting out of it. Because at the end of the day, we will need to get promotion if we want to kind of entertain the idea of winning Ulster titles or going far in the All Ireland series. So yeah. I think there will be a couple of sticky games there, the likes of Tipperary, as you were saying, Down. They could be reinvigorated. Conor Lafferty, you might get a couple of the Kilcoo boys call in the gang. So there is lots of quality there. So that's what I'm kind of saying. It will be quite tough next year. But I know this year there might have been a tad bit of room for complacency. Okay, Division 4 teams, whatever. But I think teams go up, teams go down. So I think next year, Division 3, we will need to be top of the pops, because I think if we are complacent, you could stay there again the following year. So yeah, you'll need to hit the ground. You'll definitely need to hit the ground running, And Westmeath as well. We'll be playing them too, yeah.
Yeah, I was actually looking at the fixtures there. Westmeath away, first game. I mean, that's going to be. It doesn't get much tougher than that. And as we've seen with yourselves down the years, like obviously you think back to 2021, I think it was, when you lost to Fermanagh on the opening day. Obviously it was a shorter condensed league, but if you go on a bad run, and like Division 3 is usually the mental division where everyone kind of beats everyone. So I mean, bit of pressure there from the get-go.
From the get-go, my man, and that is not an easy place to go to. And Westmeath will be absolutely mad to put one over us on the first day of the National League, and to follow up the Tottenham Cup victory against us as well. So it's a very, very hard start. Westmeath, like they're literally talented at the minute. Luke Loughlin, he had a serious year for himself. The likes of John Heslin, Ronan O'Toole. So they are littered with talent. So you probably couldn't have looked for a harder start. It's a tough place to go to. So look, we'll need to be fully focused on that. I think we'll need to have a pretty good McKenna Cup as well. I think we will. Mickey probably will blood a lot of young lads and get minutes into the legs. But I think that's a very, very first tough round game. It's away from home as well, so it's our away form can be fairly up and down at times too. But yeah, it's going to be a tricky test. But hopefully Mickey will be able to pass it.
Yeah, and like I'd fancy Offaly to be thereabouts as well. Like, and I think you've them away a couple of weeks later. Like, so
yeah.
I mean, like, who do you think will be sort of the closest challengers to Cavan, or how do you kind of see that division playing out? Do you think it will be Westmeath, Offaly, or do you think maybe even a Down, Tipperary could put up a bit of a fight there?
Well, I suppose we kind of have to be realistic with Cavan. Like, I know obviously you're kind of saying that, we are probably favourites to go up, but, I think people maybe have this false sense of, oh God, they won the Ulster title in 2020. But I think there was, I suppose you have to be realistic about these things. There probably was a good slice of luck involved in the 2020 success. So I suppose when you bring it back a bit, we're not maybe as good as maybe people think we are to a degree. I know we gave Donegal a good run down at Clonus in the Ulster Championship, but there's a lot of tricky tests there. Like Offaly will be mad to beat us. Like down, as you were rightly saying about Conor Lafferty, they'll be mad to get Lafferty will be hoping to have them lads bouncing for the league. So they'll not be easy. Tipperary have always been a sticky team for Cavan, and Westmeath the first game away from home. Like, so I'm telling you that there'll be lots of competitive games in that league. We can't be complacent, and there'll be loads of teams willing and looking to take points off us as well. So I think we'll need to, look at ourselves and think, right, this is the division we're in. It'll not definitely be easy. I know we won a fair enough that Ulster in 2020, but I think we need to park that. We need to move on. We need to be realistic about where we are as a county, the quality of players we have, the quality of players we've lost, and I think it'll be a big learning curve next year.
Yeah, what would you see Cavan as then? Kind of like a Division 2 team, kind of like high Division 2, low, like or where would you kind of, I suppose, rank them maybe?
Look, at this minute of time, it's probably hard to know, because I think, the Tolton Cup final, if we won that, you think, okay, we're not as bad as we think we are, but I think we are definitely a Division 2 team, and probably like a maybe a Division 2 team, and that's probably where I probably would rate us, really. And on our day when we're playing well, that's the standard we can get to. But I think for the stuff that's probably gone on in recent weeks, I think, as I keep saying, next year probably will be a bit of an uphill task, but no better, in fairness, man, Mickey Graham, to rally the troops and get out of Division 3 and have a relatively good championship. But yeah, to answer your question, probably maybe a mid-Division 2 team. But again, keep referring back to the point, the likes of Offaly, the likes of Tip, the likes of Westmeath, they will be absolutely mad to beat us next year. And to put us down maybe as favourites to get out of Division 3, or okay, that is fair enough, but it's, when you look around yourself, it'll not be easy.
Yeah, and Jack says here, Westmeath down, great news for Longford. I think he means great news for those games to be in Longford, I presume. Their best players in county are back. Wouldn't write us off. Westmeath, Cavan probably best at the minute. So I suppose we can't write off the Longford men just yet.
We cannot rule out the Longford lads at all, not at all. But I think we should probably have enough for the likes of Longford. Well, hopefully we should have enough for the likes of Longford, and we're not complacent. But Longford, yeah, look, lots of good quality players there, and obviously Paddy Christie has gone in with them next year, so that's a very exciting proposition for the Longford lads. So that's a lot to look forward to next year. I was quite surprised. I don't know what you thought of I had Billy on during the summer, Billy O'Loughlin on during the summer, talking on the podcast. I was very, very surprised he stepped away. I think it was the work commitments that's ruled him out, but he was buzzing for that job. He couldn't say enough about it nearly, so I was quite surprised about it. But Paddy Christie, he'll be a huge addition down there in Longford, but I think Longford at the best probably are a Division 3 team.
Yeah, no, it was surprising, all right, to see him step away. Like, I'm guessing just a better opportunity, more feasible opportunity obviously came along for himself. And I don't know, like, if you ask most Longford fans, would they rather Billy O'Loughlin stay or Paddy Christie come in? That's an interesting question, to be fair. Like, I think getting Paddy Christie in there is definitely a big coup nonetheless. But looking at the sort of broader picture and looking at the championship season then from a Cavan perspective, I mean, obviously you're on there on the side of the draw, as Gavin was saying earlier, I think with the likes of Armagh, possibly even Donegal as well. You've got a fair good record against Armagh down the years, in fairness.
I love reminding Johnny Murder of this. Johnny, if you're listening, you're probably putting up Christmas trees. You're flat out these days. But we have had a very, very good record against Armagh, in fairness. Like, and I know obviously we need to get over the league first. But no, look, you would be looking forward to the championship next year. We are on a nice side of the draw, and I know Armagh, the fans will be very confident of, sure, it's only Cavan, we'll get over them. But we have always, we've had very good success over Armagh in the last couple of years. I think it was 2019. 2013 and 20 was it so we've had 2016, so we've had good record against them, but I think back it up again next year. But I think the broader picture of the championship, Mickey Graham is a championship man. He's been very vocal in his views about being a championship man, but he knows, I think, the task ahead of him. He knows he will need to get promotion out of Division 3, I suppose, just to keep the fans happy more than anything, keep the players happy. He will need to get out of there and then, I suppose, look into the championship after that. But not a bad draw. But I think, look, is the Ulster Championship attainable? Is it a reachable goal for Cavan next year with the likes of Armagh, the likes of Derry? You could say Tyrone will have a big bounce next year. Is it an achievable goal for Cavan next year? I'm not sure. Is winning a Tolton Cup and getting out of Division 3 achievable? It absolutely is. I think the Anglo-Celt Cup, I think it'll be another few years till we'll be lifting that, I think, big man.
Yeah, like, and I suppose as well, as you said, like, you want to get out of Division 3 mainly as well, just because you obviously want to avoid the Tailteann Cup. I'm sure you'd love to right the wrong of last year and be there in Croke Park and lift the Tailteann Cup, but I think at the same time, I'm sure you'd rather the newly formed championship structure. I think group stages are going to be in there this year, so I'm sure you'd rather be one of the participants in there.
One of them. Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, I think the Tottenham Cup this year, like it probably was a bit of a learning curve for Cavan, and probably maybe a bit of a true reflection of where we maybe are as a county, and maybe to set our standards, at more at an even key, because I think we probably do get very excited within this county, maybe think we maybe are better than we think we are to a degree. So I think it was a bit of a wake-up call maybe to Tall Cup this year, because Sligo ran us close in Croke Park, Down weren't far away from us. Obviously Westmeath getting over the line against us as well. So look, it'll not be easy again, the Total Cup, because again it keeps reverting back to the point of teams coming up and down and entering the competition. So it will be tough next year, but I think realistically, if you want probably a relatively successful, of course you want to achieve all you can next year, win your Anglo-Cell Cups and win your this, that and the other. But I think being realistic next year for Cavan, just get out of Division 3 and just get your hands on that Tottenham Cup, because I think it was definitely a missed opportunity this year.
Yeah, and looking at the championship then, like, what do you think is a realistic expectation for Cavan in total? Like, as you said, winning an Ulster title or even getting to a final is probably going to be fairly unrealistic, if we be honest. So I think looking past that, obviously, if you do get out of Division 3, you obviously have the group stages now, and sort of instead of the qualifiers. So like, what's the kind of thought process there? Like, do you think getting to a quarterfinals could be possible, or what do you reckon?
A quarterfinals of an All Ireland, is it? Yeah. Oh God, it's only Christmas time.
If Clare can get in there, I don't see any reason why Cavan can't get. I mean, you might need a bit of luck or whatever in terms of the draw. Like, obviously, we're kind of, we might be bluffing a little bit here now, because we've no idea.
It wouldn't be like us.
we've no idea how the championship is going to fall with groups and everything else. So it's one of them things. You could be drawn in a group with Dublin and Mayo or something like that, and sure, best of luck. Although you might turn over.
The Dubs, who knows? Yeah. Look, I think it's only Christmas, my man, so you're landing a lot on me tonight. But look, I think an All-Ireland quarter-final, absolutely, like that it can be a goal for Cavan. We can get to them levels, but I think it's kind of like, I wouldn't like to think we're going back instead of forwards, but I think we need to kind of take a bit of a reality check and think, right, we've lost a lot of lads, we've lost one of our coaching staff. Obviously, fair enough, Mickey has brought in the likes of Darren. We've got that back. Darren McVeety brought in James Burke from Mayo, and that's great, that's brilliant. But a bit of like Tomas Galligan will be a huge loss next year. He brought the issue a lot of the times last. Like, he was a big say in that 2020 success. So he brought the issue, he brought the noise. So he'll be a huge loss around the dressing room next year. But I think, as I said, get out of Division 3, win the Tottenham Cup, and then, to be honest, Aaron, after that, anything's a bonus. Anything really is a bonus,
Yeah, like, who do you think is going to be the standout player for Cavan, or who will be the standout players like for Cavan going into 2023? I mean, obviously Paddy Lynch had a very good year last year. Gro McKernan's been sort of knocking around the block the last couple of seasons. So which lads do you think would be significant for Cavan if he are going to go on and do something special, or maybe cause a shock or two?
Yeah, like as you were rightly saying there, the likes of Paddy Lynch, I think Paddy will be looking to have a good year again next year and continue his brilliant form. The likes of Garrod McKernan, obviously Garrod, with the way county's going at the minute, hopefully Garrod has another good maybe 2 or 3 years left in him. Fingers crossed if he keeps injury free. Ray's been just monumental for Cavan the last couple of years. He's been fantastic. I think there's even talk of Martin Riley doing another year, so I think he's keeping himself relevant. So fair play to him. The likes of James Smith, he was very good for Cavan the last couple of years. But I suppose just the usual contenders, Jerry Smith, I think was the Cavan Player of the Year this year. He had a great year too. So yeah, all them kind of lads, and even the likes of, it's good to see even the likes of kids of Jason McLaughlin. Jason's even gone in again next year, and the likes of Killian Clark. So it is, there is lots of experience going in next year, and hopefully a few more. I think David Brady, Ballyhaise, he had a great year for Ballyhaise in the championship this year, so he's gone in. John Cook from Crushlaw, but yeah, just the likes of Garrod and Paddy Lynch, they'll need to be probably vocal for any of Cavan's success next year, and the likes of Darren McVeety too. It'll be great to see Darren back in a Cavan jersey as well, because I think it's 2019 since we seen him in one, so it'll be great to see the Mac back.
Yeah, and I suppose looking at the bigger picture, obviously, in terms of maybe some general predictions, I mean, who's the team to beat in your opinion going into 2023? Or can Kerry be stopped? Can the Dubs maybe with the band back together of McCaffrey, Mannion and Giller's coming in, and who knows, maybe Jerry McConnelly might line. No, I don't think
Jeez,
he will.
no, I'd love that. I'd love that. But
well, McConnelly won't even play for his club anymore. Do you know?
Yeah, I
Do you
know.
what I mean?
I know. Well, in fairness, Nathan Mullins said he's still about the club, so he has to be about somewhere. But it'd be great to see him turn the jersey again. Make no doubt about it. But yeah, I think overall picture, like we've seen in recent days, the like David Clifford's season is still going on. So look, Kerry will be thereabouts again. I think just that man alone, I think once Kerry keep him fit, Kerry are always going to be contenders. And you know, maybe for like the next 8 or 9 years, Kerry will be thereabouts if they keep David Clifford fresh. Obviously, the likes of Paulie as well, Sean O'Shea. So Kerry will be. They'll have to be in the conversation once again. Dublin. Oh, sure. Look, it's great to see Paul Mannion and Jack McCaffrey back. I think you were probably like a child on Christmas Day when you seen them pair of boys coming back and Pat Gilroy coming back into the fold too. So getting the band back together, absolutely, man. It's Dublin will be a powerhouse again next year, and it makes you think if they had Conor Callan, everyone says in that semi-final this year, if they had Con, could have won. They probably could have won, so could have been another All-Ireland for Dublin. So I think Paul Mannion and Jack McCaffrey are going to be the missing link for you again next year. So it could be a live once again in July next year, my man. Galway. I think Galway missed the chance this year. I'm not too sure are they going to be reaching the levels again next year. I know Shane Walsh is unbelievable, but I think they might. I'm not sure we'll be getting to an All-Ireland final next year. Maybe a quarter or semi again next year. Mayo. I know you love Mayo, Aaron, and hold back your fondness there for them. But I don't know. Lee Keegan hasn't recommitted. I've seen in recent days with Stephen Rochford relishing coming back into the Mayo setup. Tyrone, obviously All Ireland champions in 2021, so they'll be mad to have a big year next year too. So Derry Armagh. So look at from an overall sense, Aaron, really looking forward to it because there's so many teams that could potentially win an All Ireland. Even an Ulster title and once, maybe a Connacht title, loads of teams, and overall the GAA is definitely in a good place because there's just so many good teams there at the minute.
Yeah, no, there definitely is. Like I think most people would have Kerry and Dublin maybe in a bracket sort of above the rest, but I think after that, like there's a whole host of teams that could really be anyone. Like you've got Armagh, Derry potentially getting into the fold. Like it's going to be. Like, hopefully, anyway, it's going to be a super exciting season. Like, I know, obviously, with the new championship structure and the group stages, and few people are for it, few people are against it. I'm definitely not a big fan right now. Like, I mean, maybe when it comes around, it might be interesting. I think the whole idea of 3 teams advancing from the group is kind of mad. But look, hopefully, we get a super competitive championship, anyways. You know.
No, definitely. Like, and that's what you would be looking forward to. And it's great that. I know Dublin have kind of came back to that packet, like maybe next year they might right a few wrongs, but it's great to see the likes of teams kind of coming up, and we've seen the Derry, a strong Derry, and I think probably on a side note as well, the likes of Monaghan and Donegal. I think Monaghan and Donegal, it could be a tough couple of years for them. Like I know Vinnie Curry would be mad to get the Monaghan boys back in the conversation again, and Donegal. But I think Donegal, with the loss of Michael Murphy, I think Donegal could potentially struggle next year. I know Paddy Carr, he'll be mad keen to get the Donegal boys back and playing good football. But I think they could struggle now without Murphy. Murphy's going to be huge. Like, and I know there's talk about maybe his retirement being a bit premature, but look, it looked fairly definite in my eyes. He's going to be a huge loss in the dressing room. Probably one of the best players to ever play the game. So Donegal could be in for a couple of years of hardship. So I think basically you can nearly say Derry and Armagh have replaced maybe Monaghan and Donegal to a degree. Tyrone as well there. So even there's lots of exciting teams. It's great to see because look, it's just more teams because so many years it was either Dublin, Mayo, and now we have a variety of teams to look forward to next year. So yeah, looking forward to it because this club crack the last couple of weeks hasn't got me going.
Yeah, no, that's completely true. Like I think when you kind of get the inter-county games back and you get the rivalries and everything and the sort of all that goes with it from the league and the championship, it's definitely hits that bit differently. Any surprise packages in there, maybe you think that could cause a surprise or two? Maybe yourselves, who knows?
Oh lordy. Surprise packages. Look, Oisin McConville up in Wicklow. God knows what he's planning up in Wicklow. Oisin's a very, very shrewd man. Like he knows his
he
stuff.
He could get lost up there, to be honest.
He could get lost. They get the GPS out.
Make sure he gets out.
Oh man, surprise packages. Look at it. I think we're probably. I think from a province point of view, I think obviously Kerry will win Munster, Dublin will win Leinster, Connacht. I think probably Mayo will probably win Connacht, I'd say, and then Leinster, I'd say Wicklow will probably win Leinster. But, no, I look surprise packages.
Their duck eventually, you know.
Surprise packages. I don't think we're in for a whole pile of surprises. I think the year will go as flow and probably as expected. A surprise team. Oh God, Roscommon and Burke, Davy Burke on up there. That could be a very surprising. Burke is just lives and breathes football. He looks so enthusiastic. He just looks, oh man, like he I think him and Mark McHugh, I think they'll get a bit of a kick out of the Roscommon lads. So Roscommon could be a team to watch out for next year. So any Roscommon fans watching, God knows what could happen next year.
100%. Some kind of, I'm on the edge with Roscommon because anytime I've backed them to do well, they tend to do bad, and anytime I've gone against them, they do well. So I think I'll just say nothing in regards to Roscommon. But yeah, John, cheers very much for coming on. If anyone's looking to check out your own podcast, the JMac podcast, where can they find it?
On Twitter, my man, at the JMac Podcast. On Facebook, the JMac Podcast. And yeah, that's it. On YouTube, the JMac Podcast as well. So really looking forward to the county starting back, getting my pundits and all lined up now in the next few weeks. And it'll be great to have it back. And yeah, if you any queries, get me on email at johnmcmcnaho@gmail.com. And really look forward to interacting, which is pleasure to be on again, my man. And this county cannot be long coming back because really looking forward to it. And yeah, thanks for having me on.
Great stuff. Well, best of luck for the next season with Cavan. Hopefully you get what you deserve. Division 3 promotion, relegation. We'll see.
I'll get what you deserve.